Welcome to Today in Putnam County. I'm your host, County Mayor Randy Porter. Hoping you're having a great week. You start to 2025. Hey, the slate's clean. Everything is positive going into the future. I hope you have a great 2025. Our show this week, it's about the premier magazine that we have in Cookeville. It's called Cookeville Lifestyles, and my guest this morning is the brainchild behind that publication, Chelesa Dartez. Chelsea,
thanks for having me,
thanks for
Randy.
being on. It's good to see you.
Good to see you always.
Happy
Thank
New
you.
Year. How's the family? Everybody doing?
They're great. I mean, the kids have been out of school for how long now?
Oh, wow.
Today's the
Snow days and holidays, and everybody's
Yep.
ready to go back to school, right?
Yeah, but everybody's healthy, so we're doing good. Just rolling with it.
That's good. Your kids now, you have two, right?
Yes, 3 and 6. So the
3 and 6.
3-year-old's daycare is always open, even if there's a catastrophic event.
Yeah.
They stay open. But the Putnam County schools, they close for everything.
Well, and a lot of folks don't understand about school closings, too. A lot of it has to do with Monterey.
Yeah, so you have to close every school if you close Monterey?
That's right.
Okay. See, I didn't realize that either.
Until after the snow days are gone, and then I think there's something there about that they could close just Monterey and have Cookeville open. But the problem is then you get them separated to where that Monterey's 3 days behind and Cookeville's not, and do you make Monterey go 3 days later in the summer
Okay.
and all the bus routes and everything? So it's a real,
And do you have to be part of that decision?
thank goodness, no.
Okay. Thank goodness. You don't need that on your plate.
We call him the King, Corby King. He has a group of folks that they go out and drive the roads at 3 or 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning to make the decision
no
as
way.
as to when
Wow.
school's going to be open. So it's a
Inside baseball. I
It
had no
is.
idea.
Yeah, and then they all kind of vote as to what they think would be the best. And a lot of times Monterey will have, ice and snow, and Cookeville not have anything.
Yeah, and I feel like it might be that way for a few more days, but we'll make it
Yeah.
through.
It's back to kind of the old winters. Of course, when I was growing up and going to school, they'd be whole month of January. You might not go to school because
Really?
we used to have a lot of snow.
Did you go to Monterey?
No, I went to Macon County, a couple counties over,
Oh.
and Macon County, Jackson County, Putnam. I mean, most of those were the same because of the hills and
Yeah.
well, they call it the old hills and the hollers, I guess.
Yeah, they do.
But,
The counties.
The counties, yeah. So, well, thanks for being on the show. I want to talk about
for having
Cookeville Lifestyle. Did you? And I was looking back on your website and some of the issues and so forth, and to think that you launched this back in 2021.
2022.
2022
I had the idea probably in 2021, but then the first issue took a whole year to publish.
to get published.
So, yeah,
How many have you done now?
9. We're working on 10.
Wow.
Yeah, I know.
Isn't it amazing?
It feels like it has flown by. And somebody was like, you release magazines all the time. And I said, actually, it's just for a year, but maybe it feels like it's all the time.
So how'd the idea of a magazine come up? I mean, so we can go back in your history. I mean, you came from Texas, moved to Nashville,
Yes, to go to
started your own
college.
media or college, and then your own media company stuff. But once you moved to Cool and everything, how did a magazine come to mind? I mean, I know we don't really have any other magazines, do we?
Yeah, no, there wasn't. There had been one that I think published. It hadn't published in a really long time, but I noticed there weren't any really. There's the 365 that the Herald Citizen.
Yeah, the Herald
does.
Citizen does now, yeah.
But it's structured a little differently. So I was in the music industry still and living here, and I was pregnant with my second child, then had the second child, and I was going back and forth weekly, sometimes several days a week, to go to shows in Nashville with my artists, going to the Opry and things like that, and ditching my husband with 2 kids after he worked all day and being like, bye, see ya
Must
at
have
midnight.
a great husband, yeah.
I don't know that he loved it, but part of my reason of moving past that, it just wasn't working out as far as just the time and me being a mom of 2 young kids. So I tried to figure out what in the world could I do with my skill set in Cookeville, and there wasn't much. I looked,
Yeah.
and I had always been an entrepreneur. I had owned my own company, so I'd always been really flexible with my schedule, and I knew I needed that with having young children.
Yeah.
So I couldn't be chained to a desk. And then beyond that, what in the world was I going to do? So I was like, I should start a magazine. And I'd had experience with that I was a publicist primarily in Nashville. So I'd worked with Nashville Lifestyles. I'd worked with People Country, all types of different publications in my career. So I kind of knew the publicist side of it. So I knew how magazines kind of worked, but I had to teach myself a lot. But that's really how I just had the idea. And I kind of did research on if there was other publications here. I think I might have asked you. I asked Ricky Shelton, and everybody was just
we knew it was going to be a big deal. Yeah.
So,
but to put something together, a magazine looks complicated to me. I mean, you think so many pages and have to have so much content.
Yeah, it is. I had to teach myself how to do InDesign, which is the software you use to design the magazine, on YouTube. It took me about 3 days to learn it. And then finally, now it's just second nature. But in the beginning, that's why I gave myself almost a year to publish the first, because I didn't have any money. So I couldn't pay somebody to do it. And I think the first issue we broke even, which was a success in my book.
Oh, that's a major success, putting out a magazine with the first issue.
Yeah, because printing a magazine is not cheap, especially a quality one that has perfect binding, which is there's no staples.
Right.
But I wanted it to look quality because I thought a lot of the magazines that have staples, I think people just throw it in the trash. They feel like
They don't pay as much attention to it, do you think?
Right. Yeah. And I wanted people to keep it at their house and look through it. I felt like that would bring more value to my advertisers.
Right.
So long story short, there you go. That's kind of how I started. And yes, it is complicated to put it together, but I've kind of gotten the hang of it now. 2 years in, 3 years in, ish.
Was it difficult to get advertisers?
In the beginning,
that sounds like that would be the hardest thing out of putting it together to get it going for that first issue. Now, once you get them on board, but that had to be difficult going out trying to get these folks to be willing to put in.
Before I had name recognition, it was very difficult. And the first thing I had to do was get distributors. And even that was difficult. Some people were like, I don't know what this is. I don't want this in my business,
Got to have a place where folks can get it, right?
Right, for free.
Yeah.
So now I have plenty of distributors. But yes, it was difficult in the beginning, but I tried to start a social media buzz before I released it a long time before, so I could get more people wondering, what is this? Maybe I want to be a part of this early on.
Yeah.
So I really tried to do that. And yes, we had enough advertisers in the first issue to break even. So
that was a huge success. So first magazine, was that CG?
Yes, CG. I brought it. OG.
What
model.
a special person she is. Her and her husband have done a great job with the coffee place, and she's got her own boutique, and it's unbelievable. So the first issue was the most influential people.
Yes.
How'd you come up with that?
So I had seen in just my background, different groups of people in magazines, and I felt like they were always super popular when you did a group of people. Or like 40 under 40, 30 under 30, that kind of thing, or music industry leaders of 2025, things like that I had experienced personally in my career. So I thought we need to make a big splash and include people who are, that do have name recognition and could help us spread the word about this.
Right.
So that's how I thought it up, but I was worried that people wouldn't agree to do it. But I didn't know that many people in town. I knew people then pretty much just from working with Jake Hoot when he did Hoot at the Hoop and planning that.
Right.
So I knew Ricky Shelton, and then he introduced me to a bunch of different Mark Wilson. I knew you. A few other people in town, and I asked, can you put together a group of people that can help me go through and decide? And we accepted nominations and then decided on, okay, this is going to be our first class. And somebody told me about CG and how she was about to open the Exceptional Bean.
Right.
And I said, oh, wow, that would be perfect for the cover of the first edition. But we had Phil Oldham in that one. Gosh, I can't even remember it. Ricky Shelton was in that one. Who else? I can't even remember. So many. Shaquana Wester. It's right here.
You had a bunch of folks.
Yep. Mark DeClaire. A bunch of great people in that first edition, and we revealed them one at a time to really hype the buzz up, we still do.
Yeah. That's the fun part of it.
So yeah, that's kind of, I just wanted something that would create a lot of buzz as to what is happening with this, who is, what is going on. And I think we accomplished that with the first issue, but it's continued to, some people still don't even know. I still get comments, oh, I never even knew that we had a magazine, every day. So
There's always going to be people that
aren't
say
paying
that.
attention.
Hey, you're listed today in Putnam County. I'm your host, County Mayor Randy Porter. Got my good friend Chelesa Dartez with me with Cookeville Lifestyle Magazine. We're going to talk more about the magazine and the future of the publication and a lot of other things that she's looking at coming up. We got to take a break. Stay with us. Welcome back to Today in Putnam County. I'm your host, County Mayor Randy Porter. Hope you're having a great week. Our show this week, it's about the Cookeville Lifestyle Magazine, and Chelesa Dartez is our guest, good friend. Been in Cookeville for a while now. Met her when she was Jake Hoot's manager. Chelsea, that goes back a few years, doesn't it?
Before he won The Voice. I think that's when we met. Yeah.
Yeah,
We were
it
playing in
was.
the watch parties and stuff like that. Yeah.
That was a huge thing for Cookeville.
It was.
I mean, I know Rick and I doing the social media posts and everything with you on that. The response was unbelievable with folks, and it wasn't just in Cookeville; it was nationwide, and folks were so excited and coming down and Jake winning that. And I go back with Jake a long ways. Jake worked at the radio station here, and of course played events around. He played at my campaign event, my very first one back in 2014.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and that's and so I've known him for a long time, and we were just so excited. But
He's
you talking
just
about
a good human,
You're talking about nervous. We were all nervous.
Oh, yeah.
I can't imagine what he was feeling there doing the show, but everybody, that was the talk of the town. Everywhere I went, we were talking about Jake, and we were nervous for the next episode to come up, and was he going to make it? And
I know.
And that night when he got
pins
it,
and needles.
oh, pins and needles, it was that was a great thing, and I know that had to be exciting for you being his manager.
Well, I started working with him before he went back for the live part of the show.
Yeah.
So we'd made it to like the top 20, I think.
Yeah.
And then Philip Gibbons, shout out. I have been friends with him for a really long time from working in the music industry. And he told me, I need you to meet with this guy. He's on The Voice. And it was hush hush because he wasn't supposed to tell people what was going on. And I went and met with him, and he didn't even have a Twitter account, Jake. He didn't have a website, nothing. And I said, at first I was just like, let me help you. You need to capitalize on this while you're on national TV twice a week. So I built his website, got his Twitter rolling, and then he was always great with Facebook and all that. So he was doing his thing there. I was just making sure it made it over to Twitter and all that, and made sure he had somewhere for people to go when they were Googling him, And then we really started working together when he won and got back, because he was so busy. I don't know if you remember, while he was out in LA.
Unbelievable.
So I was just I was doing some of the PR and arranging the interviews and things, but then when he actually won, that's when the ball really started rolling, and we did Hoot at the Hoop, which it was like the Beatles were in town.
Huge
I swear.
event. I mean, we filled the hoop, and I'll never forget getting there early and was shocked. They were lined up,
It was
people
insane.
all the way around the hoop to get in.
We were up in the media room. I don't remember the room we were in. You probably know better than me. But we were doing interviews, and I looked out the window and saw the line, and I said, Jake, come and look at this. And he was shocked
He's
too.
blown away, wasn't he?
Yes, it was insane. And then Judah came, and Lone Star, and it was wild.
It was wild.
That's when Cookeville really rallies behind.
Absolutely, one of their own. It really showed. It really showed that, and it was a great day. I mean, that place was rocking.
It was.
I'll never forget that. That's a great memory. And of course, after that, then you're here in Cookeville, and inside you want to start the Cookeville Lifestyles Magazine.
Yeah.
We talked a little bit about that in the first episode. So. The one question that I have, and I know it was a problem for me, and I wonder if it was a problem for others, you nominated people. I mean, the general public could
Yeah.
nominate
Yes.
people to be in it for the most influential and the movers and shakers and that. And then you had a committee that went and reviewed those and narrowed it down to the ones that you needed in the magazine. When you reached out to the people that got chosen, I can't imagine the reactions, but I know mine was, Chelsea, there is no way. I remember when you called me, I said, Chelsea, there is no way. That's not me. I mean, I'm
know.
this, that, and the other. And was that, did you have that a lot with a lot of the
Yes.
folks?
Most
Modesty?
people are honored, however, timid and unsure,
Right.
because they don't want to look like they have an ego or whatever it may be. But
Exactly.
we just reassure them. I think that we've tried to do a good job at honoring everyone's stories and not twisting it or anything. They feel safe. We try to make them feel safe.
Yeah.
And we're doing this to help spread the word of all the good that the people are doing, not make them look like a superstar, which I hope that we also make them look like a superstar selfishly, which Randy Porter did on his cover. But I think that's people don't want to brag on themselves. I feel like
Right.
most of the people that do a lot of good in this town don't want to bring the spotlight on themselves, but every now and then you need to be celebrated for your success and everything you've done for others. So.
Kind of like the thing of donating. You know, the Bible talks about, don't let your left hand know what the right hand is
Yeah.
doing, and it's tough. I told my mom. She come up and saw it, and I said, Mom, did you ever think that this old country farm boy from Macon County would be where I am today and would be on the cover of a magazine?
I love
She
that.
sat there and thought, and I thought, I don't know what's going to come next, if it's going to be good or bad. She said, yes, son, I knew you would be. I thought, you're
Aw,
lying.
so
That's a
sweet.
mom, though, isn't it?
I love that. No, but I have had a couple people one of them was they were a religious leader.
Yeah.
And they turned it down, which I completely understood because,
Totally. Yeah.
I mean, I don't really need to go into it,
Yeah.
but, and then another that was just so shy. They didn't want to be in the
Yeah.
spotlight ever, which I understand and respect,
Yeah. Well, and it's like you said, you want to be modest but at the same time it's tough. But you have put together some great issues with some great people in it. I was amazed that once you called me, all the stuff that went on in the background
Yeah.
getting ready for the magazine. I mean, you got some great people behind Andrew Buckner.
Buckner.
Oh, wow. What a great guy.
He's amazing. I am
So
lucky.
He's your editor in chief, right? And of course, Andrew's a local guy here, and he's definitely one of the best guitar players I think I've ever heard.
He is. He's multi-talented.
He's an amazing musician, but all the stuff going on in the background with the photos and the articles and everything.
Yeah.
I mean, so from start, when you start with an edition until you finish it, what kind of time frame does that take to put all that together?
So we pretty much have 6 weeks normally from when we start. We figure out I normally figure out the concept, and then I get input now from Abby, and Abby is my lead photographer, and Andrew. We figure out the concept behind the photo shoot, the theme, whatever it may be, and then we plan the shoots. So typically, if it's most influential people, for example, we try to shoot that within 2 to 3 days, schedule everybody. Sometimes we've shot it in 1 day, which is very difficult. Schedule everyone, schedule for the women, they get hair and makeup. I wanted the women to have a glam session because when else do you get to do this and be celebrated? And I want you to feel proud of your photos. So I know from my days in the music industry, why not? If you're going to do it, let's do it right.
Do it right.
You know?
Yeah. Well, you definitely did for sure.
So, and then we schedule the photo shoots. The photos get turned in. Then I go and craft the editorial layouts in my software. Andrew writes all the stories. He's great at taking the ball and running with it in that aspect, and I trust him completely. And he turns it into me. We lay it all out. The advertisers, I got to get all their ads, make sure they work. A lot of times they don't. So I have to tweak them, or I design a lot of the ads myself. And then we send it to the printer and Voila.
Voila. Just magic. It all comes together, doesn't it?
Yes.
Hey, we got to take a break. You're listening to Today in Putnam County. I'm your host, County Mayor Randy Porter. Chelesa Dartez with Cookeville Lifestyle Magazine is my guest today. More with her after this. Stay with us. Welcome back to Today in Putnam County. I'm your host, County Mayor Randy Porter. Hope you're having a great week. This week's show, it's about our premier magazine we have here in Putnam County. It's called Cookeville Lifestyles, and its creator, Chelesa Dartez, is my guest this week. Chelsea's been talking about the magazine and all that, the time and energy and all the people you have in the background that puts that together. Just amazing for that to be to that point, and it'd be free.
Yeah. Takes a lot of advertisers.
Yeah, I mean, you got a lot of great advertisers, and to be able to have that kind of magazine in our community, and it be free, that's a major accomplishment for a community our size.
Yeah. Yeah. When we first started, I pretty much did all of the jobs besides the photography. I wrote everything. I laid everything out, designed it. But now, as we've gotten more advertisers, I've tried to pour it into building a team. So all the extra funds go to creating this awesome team that I have now. Andrew Buckner, Abby Whedon, my hair and makeup, Jamillie Boucher Jamillie Eckert and Emily Boucher. I have other freelance photographers that I use for different photo shoots. And now I actually have a graphic designer that I also use as well that helps me with my layouts. So I'm continuing to grow and put all the extra funds we have back into the magazine and continuing to build the brand.
You got a great website too.
Thank you. Yeah.
I was doing research for the show and looking. It's so easy to navigate, but it's got a huge amount of information, all the magazines and everything there, and be able to look at. And you did a great job with that. Well,
thank you. We try to about 2 to 3 weeks after each issue comes out, we start posting an article a day from the magazine on the website, because I do realize that people consume most of their stuff on the internet still, I know. But I want people to have a few weeks where they can just see it in print, you know?
Yeah. I'm old school. I got to have it in my hand.
Yes.
I mean, I do online too, but it's nice to have it in your hand.
But I do want it to exist forever. So that's why it goes online.
Good.
You know, because I want people to be able to Google Randy Porter, who was on my cover once, and find his story and it not just disappear into the abyss, because a lot of people did a lot of work for that. I want the photos to live on. I want Andrew's beautiful articles to live on. So we do put them up online. And then we used to try to do a bunch of different articles that weren't in the magazine online, but I kind of ran out of time for that. So I'm going to try to build that back up. Different guides or top 10 places to see it, you know, things like that.
So what's the next edition that's coming out? You just did one last fall, right?
So, yes, we did the winter issue featuring Shan, the 2024. Right now we're working on our spring 2025, and it will be an art edition, which Abby, my lead photographer who just opened Edison Hills in town, was really passionate about doing and highlighting our art community. So she's kind of steering the ship on this one, and I'm really excited. So we're doing an art edition, and then the one after that will be the recognizable name from Cookeville edition.
We have so many great artists here. We have a group of them at the art studio over on Walnut. Yes. They actually display in the courthouse. They'll bring the art and display so people can see it. And I've been absolutely amazed at the art that's there. And then we have some photographers that do such a great job, and I call that art too.
Yes, for sure.
So that I'm looking forward to that. That's
amazing. I know, and I know that we have such a booming art world, but I don't know the details of it, so I'm even excited to learn more about it. We've shot, I think, 1 or 2 things, and we're just getting the ball rolling, but it'll be coming out in early March, the next one.
Wow, I'm excited to see that. Yeah. Well, let's talk about the new TV show.
Yeah.
So, we're recording today. Of course, you're on my show today in Putnam County, and you started yours now. So tell us about that.
Yeah, well, I'm taking notes from you. Randy's a pro over here. He's got his timer and all the things. We went for our first time to record, and it was a busy time of year, the holidays. We tried to crank one in right before the holidays to highlight our last edition of the year, and we weren't prepared at all. I wasn't prepared. I came in with no notes, nothing, but it was my team that I interviewed for the first set of episodes.
So it was kind of easy.
It was fine.
Yeah.
It didn't have to do much research, but we're just kind of Jason from Good Morning Cookeville approached me about doing this probably 6 months ago.
Yeah.
And he told me about Hub Plus and all of that. And I thought, why not? You
Yeah.
know, content is king, and any place that your brand can be out there, help spread the word of what you're doing and all of that. So I thought, why not? So
And the
we're
people
here.
you interview too, you're going to interview folks just like we do on our show that folks would never be able to hear from or maybe even know about
Yeah, for sure.
otherwise.
Yeah, we try to interview our team so we can kind of talk about the behind the scenes of the making of the magazine, and then people who have been featured in the magazine, and go more in depth into their story. But we also want to make it fun and not just, we want to ask different questions than the norm, you know? So we're having fun with it so far. We're still in the early stages. My brain is finally rolling as to how I want to do it. And I know you have plans for yours too. But this beautiful studio,
Oh,
I mean,
unbelievable.
why wouldn't we take advantage of it?
Absolutely.
You know, full advantage. So thank you, Willow Window, for
Yes.
providing us this set.
It is. It's really nice.
Oh.
And so your show is on cable channel 192 on Spectrum
And I
and
think
Twin
mine
Lakes.
premieres an hour before yours.
I think so too.
Mm-hmm.
And also then on the Hub Plus app
Yes.
on Roku.
Mm-hmm.
You doing yours over on YouTube also?
I put it up on YouTube the day after it premieres
Yeah.
on Hub Plus and cable. And then we promote it on our Instagram and all that good stuff and Facebook, you know.
We used to call, of course, it's 192 now on the cable TV, but it used to be Channel 7. This may be
Oh.
before your time. Back when cable TV was first out for a while, it was Channel 7, and it scrolled the weather and the news on it, and then it had all the events that were going on and stuff that was happening. But that's the way you found out if there was going to be any school or not the next day.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, you can have all the internet. I'm going back a ways. You can have all the internet and all the apps and them dialing you on your telephone and everything. You had to figure out that morning whether school was going
There
to
was
be
a
open
lot
or
of
not.
traffic back
Oh,
then.
everybody
Channel
watched
7.
cable, and it also, I think it played the radio station on it. Was the audio on it, but you had this whole thing. It'd show you the temperature and the weather and the news and all those kind of things scrolling on. It's a neat channel, and now going with the video, that's
That's so
gonna
awesome.
be
Yeah, we
neat.
need our own little TV station in Cookeville because the closest local news is Nashville or Knoxville, and we have our whole own little world here in
We do.
Cookeville, you
We
know?
do.
So
So, in the last couple of minutes we got, what's the future look like for you? I mean, you've done so much,
yeah.
and Jake and your media company and all those things, and now the magazine, the TV show. What's the future for Chelsea?
I think that we still, like I said, every day, or not every day, but a lot, I still get people that don't even know that there is a magazine. So trying to figure out, right now we mail them to about 700 homes, high-end homes in Cookeville for free, just to put it in front of more people that are more likely to do business with my advertisers.
Yeah.
So just trying to still raise brand awareness. And then I've thought about growing and expanding and creating another publication in another big town near here. I'm not going to say the name, but finding a local salesperson there and recreating what we're doing here, there.
Yeah.
And it all being under one media conglomerate. And I don't know. We'll have to figure that out with advertisers because can't do it without advertisers. But I think that's kind of where we are. And then continuing to do the 4 magazines a year in Cookeville, because the 4 a year, I don't think we could do more than that.
That's a lot, and it's try to
Yeah.
produce that.
People do I don't know how people do the monthly publications. They must have a much larger team. But we do a photo shoot for every single feature in our magazine and a new story. So I think that's why it takes us, a little bit longer. But yeah, so trying to brainstorm that a little, and I think we could make it happen. It's just putting the effort behind it. So
Is it just me, or could that really grow into something bigger? I
Yeah.
mean, you started in Cookeville, you moved to another town in the region somewhere,
Yeah.
maybe another one, and then, I mean, it just sounds like it's unlimited as to where that could go to.
it could be, as long as I have the tools in place and the business model in place to grow it properly, and advertising, because it is tricky in smaller towns to get advertisers.
Yeah,
So, and it's not going to cost me any less to do it anywhere else.
it's gonna cost the same to do it, right?
Right. So, yeah, we're just trying to weigh all the things. So after the show, I'll tell you the city, and you tell me what you think.
Okay.
It's gonna work.
Let's see if we got some. May have to have you back on again and have some breaking news.
Yeah.
Thank you for being on the show, Chelsea.
Thank you so much, Randy.
You have done such a great job here in Cookeville with the magazine, everything you've done, and bringing us Jay Cood and all the things that happened with him. And you've been a great friend too. And we're so excited to see what the future brings with
Well,
you.
thank you for all your support.
Absolutely.
We appreciate it.
Hey, that's our show for this week. Hope you join us every week for Today in Putnam County. I'm your host, County Mayor Randy Porter. Hope you have a great rest of your week, and may God continue to bless Putnam County.